Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans around the world, welcome to In The Clinch Podcast. I'm your host, TooterRooskieMMA. I'm here with JuiceJunkie, and this is where the octagon meets the square circle. So every week we break down the biggest fights, wildest matches, and all the action you need to know, from recaps, predictions, to the latest rumors, breaking news, and upcoming events. We've got you covered. Whether you're a diehard fan or just getting into the world of combat sports and sports entertainment, this is the place to be.
Well, I think you took the words right out of my mouth. I don't even know if I have to say anything anymore.
So let's see here. Today's topics, we're going over WWE and their future with their recent contract. We'll get into that. UFC and their future with their recent contract. What happened in WWE lately over the past weekend, and UFC 319 card and the UFC White House event. So let's first start off with some WWE questions.
Let's see. I'll let you start off.
All right, so I'm pretty sure everybody heard the news that ESPN paid WWE $1.6 billion for a 5-year contract, obtaining the U.S. streaming rights to WWE premium live events like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Money in the Bank. WWE is currently streaming on Peacock, but they're moving to ESPN August 21st of next year. So I want your input. What do you think that means for WWE, and what do you think will happen?
My honest opinion, I think they're taking a risky move here, moving to ESPN. Considering the fact that right now they are only giving about 2 to 3 weeks to build their shows and their matches, and they're only having about 5 to 6 matches, if that, on a card. So to charge $30 a month for maybe 1, 2, if you're including Saturday night's main event PLEs, I don't necessarily see it doing too hot at first, as there's already people protesting, saying they're done with WWE, they're done with their PLEs, and they just don't feel like it's worth the $29.99 a month price tag.
So I don't watch WWE personally. What's the price change here? How much was it, and how much? Well, you said $29.99, so that's like 350, $360 a year before tax. How much was it beforehand?
If I remember correctly, I believe it was anywhere from $7.99 to $10.99 for a simple Peacock subscription, and not only were you getting the entirety of the WWE catalog, you were getting their PLEs, past and present, live streaming. If you bought Peacock Premium, you got to see the backgrounds for every match on the card, plus how we got there. Um, and now moving to ESPN, I just have a feeling that the price change from around $8.99 to $12.99 to $29.99 a month, I just don't see it panning out too well.
Do you think the loyal WWE fans will pay for that, or do you think they will lose viewership over time?
Obviously, they're gonna have some that stick. Um, whether it be by watching it pirated, or just watching a streamer or a content creator, live reaction videos. But I do think they're gonna take a substantial hit from the sales or the revenue they got from you know an $8.99 easy monthly subscription, let it renew, to somebody thinking about $29.99 a month. Do I actually want to watch this PLE? Can I watch somebody else watch the PLE? It's really up in the air.
Yeah, I did some research. In 2021, the total revenue was $1 billion. 2022, 1.3 billion. 2023, the same. And now last year, 2024, it was 1.4 billion. So the WWE makes around 180 million a year with the Peacock contract at the moment. That 180 million will now be 325 million a year with the ESPN, which is almost double that. So they're going to get more money in the long run. But do you think that will cost them with their viewership, their fans? They already got guaranteed money. So do they try to come up with a way to have the fans come back, stay, or do they just not care anymore?
Um, you kind of hit on a really, really, really good topic there. Talking about, would the fans come back and would they stay? You were right. It is almost double what they were making from their Peacock deal, only because TKO has jacked prices up for everything. I mean, let's look at karrion kross t-shirts. Usually, when a talent leaves the company or is about to leave the company, their merch on WWE Shop ends up being reduced. Karrion Kross's merch, however, is still at full price, along with ticket prices for seats. You and I went to, I believe it was SmackDown or Monday Night Raw, and you were able to buy tickets last minute right behind me for a decent price. If you were to go now and get
More
those
expensive
tickets,
though, by the way.
yeah, they were more expensive because you bought them last minute. But on top of that, if you were to go buy those same tickets right now, you would pay, if not double, triple what you paid initially for the same seats in the same venue, all because of TKO.
Have you noticed any kind of complaints with that?
Oh, for sure. You look all over the internet, people talking about TKO and how it's like WWE sold their soul to them. And I don't like to get into speculation. I don't like to see, I don't like to jump the gun, but things backstage can't be too good with TKO crawling down their necks, with our truth being released because of TKO's math equation, to Karrion Kross getting a 24-hour contract, then it being rescinded. I don't know. I really don't.
Well, that's another thing I want to talk about. Carrying Cross. I know you've heard a lot about it since you're a WWE fan. Can you walk me across that? Because I've seen a lot of, as a non WWE fan, I've seen some stuff about Carrying Cross on Ariel Helwani's show and how he had a contract with like a day's notice. And he also, his wife, Scarlett,
Yeah,
is that his
Scarlet.
wife?
Hmm.
I've heard that
Scarlet Bordeaux.
she hasn't had another contract as well. If you want to walk through that.
So yeah, you got a good point there. Carrion, he was on the Ariel Helwani show. He did interview with Ariel Helwani about the status of what's going on with him, what's going on with WWE, where are they at on the contract re-signing, if it's gonna happen, if it's not. From what Carrion said, or Kevin, my bad, Kevin, he was stating that WWE didn't give him a contract offer until, I want to say, the week before the weekend his contract went up. And he wanted to get more details. He wanted to see how they came to the conclusion that they came to, but they wouldn't show him anything. And they kept putting him in front of a middleman instead of sending him to his boss, which, if you're rediscussing a contract or a contract resigning, you would think he would talk to the boss about it. But he was talking to a middleman. And when he asked about his wife, Scarlett, they said, when we're done dealing with you, we deal with her. So his contract that they gave him 24 hours to either accept or it was being rescinded, it didn't even involve Scarlett to begin with. It was just for Cross alone, and the specifics about what the deal was that he didn't respond to or turn down is unknown. We don't know what the deal was. All we know is that Scarlett wasn't involved, and Carrion did not want to accept that contract, one without doing the same thing they did last time, which was they had the same contract conversation. They were a package deal. Their contracts went up at the same time, and they wouldn't deal with both of them at the same time. On top of that, at SummerSlam, Karrion Kross, after he lost his match to Sami Zayn, he was told by WWE officials not to interact with the fans and to see, let's see, um, what was it? Let's see. It says higher ups would tell Cross not to interact with fans after shows and to see if the buzz was real or if it would fizzle out before it gained any kind of traction.
Have you ever seen anything like this before, or is Carrying Cross the first one you've seen?
I have seen it before with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Paul Heyman, in his interview with Ariel Helwani. That he drew the comparison between Cross and Carrion. Uh, they kept buying Austin's merch. They kept chanting Austin. They had Austin 316 signs. They kept chanting what after everything. And it's kind of the same thing with Cross. They're chanting we want Cross. They're buying his shirts. They're buying his merch. They're making signs. Even on, I think it was Monday Night Raw, on the Ariel Helwani show, he asked Cross if it was true that they were taking "We Want Cross" signs, and he said, "I'm not sure. I heard it, but I'm not sure." So I did hear rumors that they were taking "We Want Cross" signs.
I've seen through clips and pictures when I was researching last night. Um, do you actually think he's being genuine, or you think he's working the crowd? Because some people are divided on that. They say, well, he looks like he's being genuine, but you have other content creators and other people commenting saying that, oh, he's just working the crowd, trying to get the crowd riled up, trying to get promotional stuff. What do you think?
I mean, it's hard to really tell. I mean, think about our truth situation, Seth Rollins' most recent situation. Our truth, he was released because of TKO. Um, he was one of the highest paid, but didn't work as much as the others. And he was a comedy act, pretty much. And they released him, and that was that. And the crowd turned on WWE and TKO. All you would hear is "We want truth. We want truth." That's all you would see on the internet, everywhere. And then at Night Main Event, I believe it was Saturday's night. No, it was a different PLE entirely, I think. But when our truth came out and interfered in John Cena's match, we were told that that was a work, but that turned out to be not a work via Ron Killings. That's what he said. He said it wasn't a work. It was 110% real. He was released and they brought him back after the "We Want Truth" chants. Um then there's Seth Rollins. You got him with his knee injury, quote unquote, after his match at Saturday night's main event with LA Knight. And nobody knew if it was real because everywhere you saw Seth Rollins, he had crutches. He was saying he was going to be out for an indefinite amount of time. And he had just won the Money in the Bank contract. And at SummerSlam on night one, he cashed in on CM Punk and took the World Heavyweight Championship. And we all believed he was injured, but it was indeed a work. But on Ariel Helwani's show, Cross did kind of say that this isn't a work. Now, is he just saying that to get us off the trail? Possibly. Do I think that this is something that WWE would do, considering that it's not entirely just WWE's decision alone anymore? Yeah, I do.
So, with that being said, you've told me that there's been multiple occasions, scenarios where they would release a fighter and then the crowd would kind of retaliate. Do you think they should be doing that going into this new deal, especially when the price changes are going up? It's going to cost in the hundreds to watch a year. Do you think they should be able? Do you think they should be doing that while the fans are in this kind of state of complaining and kind of rebelling against the new contract?
Honestly, I don't think they should. It wouldn't be smart. I mean, if you're purposefully taking away what the crowd wants and doing what you want to, which is essentially what happened, um, there's only so far you can go with that. You can only take and take and take what the crowd wants and give them what they don't before eventually they say, "Hey, we'll go watch something else." Yeah, there's other promotions, Nobody wants that to happen. We want Cross. We want to see him in WWE. We want to see him succeed. It's just not something we as a collective can do unless we all band together and, yeah, like we're doing now. We want Cross. We want Cross. But I like you said, I don't think it's gonna keep working. Because I mean you can only ask for somebody over and over again. And they can only keep doing the same thing before eventually everybody's like, okay, they're just going to bring back whoever we want to if we keep chanting their name enough. Eventually, they're going to have to smarten up and they're going to have to know, okay, do we get rid of this guy because he's not really doing anything, but he's over with the crowd? Or do we get rid of this guy who is doing stuff but isn't over with the crowd? It's a seesaw of what do you do, what do you not do? And it's kind of hard in this business when you're dealing with talent who's this is their livelihood. This isn't just, oh, go on TV, make a couple bucks. No, this is their life. This pays their bills, this raises their kids, this sends them through school, the whole nine. So I don't think it's not only smart for them to not keep letting people go and then having the fans chant to bring them back, because eventually you're not going to be able to sign anyone. Everybody's gonna be like, oh well, there eventually I'm gonna have this big moment, and then I'm gonna have my time, and then eventually it's gonna fizzle out, and then I'm just gonna be thrown to the back of the wall and seen as a side character, essentially.
As a person who don't watch WWE, who is Karrion Kross? He's like a main figure, or is he like a he fills in a little bit here and there, kind of like a filler?
Well, he was never he was never a main person. He had a stable. He was in NXT. When he was in NXT, you could feel a different aura coming from him when he came out. This is when he was bald. He came out with the sole intention to
Yeah, he has long hair
brutalize.
now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He grew his hair out, and they sent him through a whole thing with suspenders, and I won't even get into that because I'm sure that's been beaten to death. But when he was in NXT, he was pushed as a real threat, and it seems like when he was brought up to the main roster, he was just lost amongst all of the other real threats. It's
See,
like they
that's
didn't know what to
another
do with
thing I
him.
want to talk about because I've seen, maybe it's not a work, maybe it is a work, but to me, like you just said, he came from NXT. Now he's in a pool of monsters and high talented people like Cody Rhodes. I seen John Cena came back. Um, all sorts of these stars and people that are trying to build in WWE that are coming in that's new as well, that maybe have a higher popularity rate. And I've seen that Karrion Kross also has a book out. Do you think it's kind of like a publicity stunt to boost his portfolio and publicity to maybe be somebody big in the WWE, or is it actually like
So with the book was actually the book starts at hold on. I actually have this written down because I wanted to talk about this. Where is it? So he's got a book that's called Life is Fighting. It goes into his 2021 release and what happened in between and what led up to his August, or not his August, his 2022 return to the WWE. As a matter of fact, I do think it was in August that he returned in 2022 though. It goes into a lot of stuff about his personal issues growing up and what happened trying to get back to the WWE in between. Um, so the book actually ends when he returned to WWE, before any of this happened, before he could even see any of this happening. You know, because he didn't get released by Triple H. He was released by Vince, and Triple H is the one that brought him and Scarlett back. But like you said with the book, is it a publicity stunt? I don't think it is because, like I said, it took years for the book to actually come out because it was supposed to initially come out when he came back, but it went through different producers and publishers and all sorts of different processes before it could actually be published. And now he's going on a bunch of tours and all that stuff while he's trying to figure out what's going on with his WWE contract.
okay? And also, like in situations like these, when they release somebody and the crowd chants wants them to come back, what's the bring back rate? Has anybody ever not came back? Have they always came back after the crowd chants for them? And do you think we'll see Karrion Kross again in the WWE?
I hope we see him again in WWE. I really want him to come back.
They still have
Um,
his merch, don't they?
they do, but here's the thing: when it comes to WWE, there is never say never. CM Punk, prime example. He went and burned every bridge, including the bridge with Triple H. He was seen backstage a couple of weeks before Survivor Series. He was told to leave. But then him and Triple H had a conversation. If Triple H had thought he was the same person on the phone, he wouldn't have brought him. If he couldn't sense a change in CM Punk, he wouldn't have brought him back because it's not the same Phil. It's not the same Phil Brooks. Um, But then again, not everybody is Phil Brooks. Like R-Truth, that was a special case because everybody loves R-Truth. Karrion Kross, that's another special case because we want Kross. You know, we want him to get that push. We want him and Scarlett to be at the top of the card, or at least in the running for the top of the card. He doesn't even have to be a main event star. He has
Everybody
to
just
do
wants Kross.
more. Everybody wants Kross. It's unanimous. Bubba Ray Dudley wants Kross. But I mean, do I think it's 100% success rate? Absolutely not. There's people that will never, and I know I said never say never, but there's people that will never come back to WWE. Not and some because of their own reasons and their own things with WWE, or some people just aren't brought back because of the things they did in WWE. But that's a story for another day.
Speaking of who came back, John Cena came back. He's doing a little run.
His
Brock
retirement
Lesnar
tour.
came back. I've seen that Brock Lesnar came back.
The
And I
beast is
even
back.
seen a special appearance about Travis Scott and The Rock. If you want to, let's change subjects and get on to what happened recently.
So about that, I'm pretty sure it's unanimous how everybody feels about The Rock, Travis Scott, and John Cena, that situation. I don't think people are necessarily mad at John, considering he's just what he's always been, the soldier. He's pointed it in a direction and he goes. That's just how he's been for the business. He said it himself. They line him up, he knocks him down. All right. The thing about The Rock and Travis Scott involved in that situation was at Elimination Chamber. It was highly speculated that Cody was going to turn heel. He was going to sell his soul to The Rock. He was going to give it all up. He was going to sit there and turn heel in front of that entire crowd. But when he didn't, and John Cena turned heel, everybody was surprised. And I mean, if anything that had happened afterwards hadn't happened and we were still in that Elimination Chamber night watching that heel turn, you would feel the same thing that everyone else felt. Oh my God, it's finally happening. John Cena's turned heel. He's aligned with the final boss, The Rock. He's even got a third stablemate as in a managerial role, maybe Travis Scott. That scenario alone didn't even end well, with Travis not pulling his punches and bursting Cody Rhodes' eardrum and leaving his face completely battered. On top of that, the build-up, John Cena's heel turn was immaculate. I mean, it was a little predictable every Monday when he ended up laying in the middle of the ring, but it was immaculate. Until we got to WrestleMania, where The Rock was saying that he was going to be at the show. There were rumors he wasn't. He said they were BS. And then Travis Scott comes out in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania. And he is what costs Cody his title. Not only was I livid, the entirety of the WWE universe was livid that a rapper was what cost the Golden Child his title on the grandest stage of them all, with The Rock nowhere to be seen. As a matter of fact, he was pump faked at the beginning. It was initially going like when he was at Elimination Chamber and Rock came out, he came out and then Travis Scott's music was playing and it was both of them walking down. The same thing happened at WrestleMania, but no Rock. And Rock has been MIA since. Nowhere to be seen on WWE TV. He's even been seen stating that his Elimination Chamber appearance was his end, or the end of his part in the John Cena heel turn story. He was never going to be at WrestleMania.
Now, do you think that's something WWE's planning out to bring him back later, or is that?
I really don't think they're using this as a story, considering the fact that The Rock kind of just pushed himself right into the board of directors of TKO. He's right up there. Like, he's got so much power. That was part of the story for WrestleMania 40, was that he had that much power. Also, WrestleMania 41 in Elimination Chamber. That was part of his story. Sell your soul to The Rock, and I will give you everything that you've ever wanted. You will succeed. You will never not be changed. And that was a lie. That whole debacle was a lie. He was never going to be at WrestleMania. He was never going to show up and actually do anything with Cody if he turned heel, I'm sure. That was his end in that story, was when John Cena turned heel. And even then, when John Cena just recently returned to being a babyface, it seemed like his entire heel run was pointless. The Rock had abandoned him. Travis Scott abandoned him after WrestleMania. And that was it. His team that was supposed to be there left him high and dry. So I don't think it's a story. I really don't. I think as soon as they had the chance at turning John Cena babyface again, right before his match at SummerSlam, where he's been a heel this entire time, they turn him babyface right before SummerSlam, and he stays that way, and he's still that way. So I just have a feeling that their entire storyline with that was just kind of ruined by The Rock and Travis.
That has me thinking. Do you think they kind of shined away from The Rock and Travis Scott and maybe wants to set up something like Brock Lesnar versus John Cena for his last fight?
Honestly, John Cena's last fight right now is not looking too great, considering that it's probably going to be on a Saturday night's main event in Boston, his hometown, which is great. But Saturday night's main event is a borderline house show. It's a glorified house show.
You don't think we'll see him at
Nothing.
WrestleMania?
His last WrestleMania was WrestleMania 41. That was it. And SummerSlam, that was his last SummerSlam, his last Elimination Chamber, his last Money in the Bank. This is his retirement tour. As they say when they announce him, gracing us with his presence one final time. Every single time he's announced. That's why they do that, because he will not be there in the ring as an in-ring talent. Now there's obviously a chance he'll come back as a producer at some point, but as an in-ring talent, it's after his final match, his retirement match, that's it. He said he doesn't want to take away from the younger guys. He feels like if he stays and he continues to take up this time, he's taking time away from the younger guys to make an impact and to make their mark. And I mean, I get it. You know, he's been through multiple generations. He was in the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, PG Era, now in the Paul Levesque era. He has been around for God knows how long, and he's done so much for the business. So I mean, I don't want to say that Brock Lesnar versus John Cena is his last match, because I have a feeling it's not. I have a feeling Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth said this great on his. I can't remember where the interview was at, but he said he thinks John Cena should have to face 7 mystery opponents in a gauntlet match leading up to the final opponent being The Rock. But The Rock's not actually there. You just send somebody else out to fight for him. Now it's not a great idea. It's not a fantastic idea, but it's better than John Cena being retired on a glorified house show.
Now, with these new talents you're saying that he's making way for, do you mean Jelly Roll and Travis Scott? Bad Bunny?
No, obviously I don't mean Jelly Roll,
Will
Travis
we
Scott, and Bad
see a
Bunny.
Jelly Roll and Travis Scott Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania?
What did I say? Never say never. I mean,
Well,
did you
this,
see that? That's what was it? A frog splash from the top turnbuckle from Logan Paul to Jelly Roll.
I think I've seen that clip.
That was insane. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
So let's talk about Brock Lesnar and his.
What do you want to know?
Why is he returning? He's in his 40s, ain't he? 40s, 50s.
Yeah,
Getting up there in age.
I mean, think about it. So was John Cena. I mean,
But
John
he's also
Cena's right
leaving.
there. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Brock's going to be around for long. I mean, we haven't seen him in over 2 years. His last match was at SummerSlam against Cody Rhodes, in one of the most brutal matches in SummerSlam history, I might add. That was crazy match between him and Brock Lesnar. I think they brought him back, and it's not because John asked him to. He completely shut that down. I think they're bringing him back because it's a big name draw. I mean, you don't have Undertaker or Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy in WWE every day, you know? You don't have names like John Cena there every day. Even his dates are limited, you know? So I feel like if not now, when? It's been 2 years. If not now, when? It kind of makes more sense for him to be here for his retirement tour, considering that John's career in like probably the prime of his career, he had, I wouldn't say it was a great match. It was a squash match against Brock Lesnar, but they definitely got to bury the hatchet. It one last time. There's no way they don't do it one last time. Which that's what they're doing.
I'm looking forward to that match.
I am too, to be honest.
Also, to end this discussion for the WWE and your feature like that in recent news, Matt Riddle, what have you heard in the last 24 hours?
Oh, Matt Riddle. I've heard some stuff about Matt Riddle in the past 24 hours. He said he thinks he can beat Roman Reigns in a street fight. He said he thinks he could take on Brock Lesnar in a street fight. I believe he said that to Brock Lesnar is like a, not to be disrespectful, but Brock took it disrespectfully. He said it about Roman disrespectfully. I mean, Roman has cancer. He has to take medicine every day of his life to be able to do what he does. So
You heard
for
any other news? News, not news.
hey,
But news
no,
is kind of a thing with this social media app that he has.
are you about to tell me that
Matt
Matt Riddle?
Riddle
No, don't
is
say it.
quote is killing it on OnlyFans and thanks his
Oh,
gay supporters.
oh,
Now I don't know if he has nudes up there or not. I'm not going to check if there is, but that's what he says.
well, I'd send out my support. Do what you do. I just don't know if that's, I mean, you're a champion in a wrestling promotion. Like,
He's
take some
calling it,
pride, man.
was it fans? I'm not quite sure what he's calling it, but it says something with bros in there.
I don't know. You want me to be honest? I can't really have an opinion on that. I mean, if I have an opinion on Matt Riddle doing it, I have to have an opinion on Cora Jade doing it or whatever she's going by now. I can't. I don't want to bash on anybody. I mean, if you're into that, you're into that. Go subscribe, Matt Riddle, OnlyFans. It's for you.
That he's calling it Bronly fans. That's what
Bronly
it's called.
fans is
Yeah,
that's an interesting
Bronly
topic.
fans.
That is pretty cool. I wouldn't say pretty cool, but
But
Anywho,
speaking of futures and contracts, let's talk about some UFC because they're also a part of the company TKO as well as a TKO as a parent company.
so when it comes to UFC, you are the UFC fan here. You watch more UFC than I do. You probably know more about it than I do.
Some
Not
say
probably
casual,
more.
some say guru. We'll never know.
Come on, Chael Sonnen. Let's stop it here. All right. So
Can't let you get close.
so now we're on to the UFC 319 news. All right. How excited are you for UFC 319? Let's be honest. It's tonight.
There's a lot of mixed opinions from me, at least.
Okay. Would you like to
I
elaborate?
mean, Card already lost 3 fights, 2 to injury, 1 to Brian Battle not making weight, which I'm upset about because this is not his first time. He's also missed weight before, but I don't understand how he missed weight while going up in the weight to go to the middleweight division.
I was gonna ask you that. So he did miss weight when going into his fight with Randy Brown. I believe he did end up winning that. Was it? I believe it was by decision, right? It was very, very small.
I
It was like
believe so, yes. I think it was
I don't.
controversial.
Yeah, it was a controversial win on Brian Battle's part. I do remember seeing that. But how do you feel about him missing weight for UFC 319? And if this continues, do you think UFC will be forced to penalize him for missing weight 3 times in a row? Or do you think that they're just going to, say it is what it is, make him fight at the catch weight and forfeit 30% of his purse? What do you think?
Well, 1 time's enough. We've already seen fighters miss weight before and all that. We don't need it becoming common. And with Brian Battle, he has that high caliber killer energy he brings because you see he has I don't know the position in it, but he has one of the most fastest wins in the UFC history. He finished I think 12 to 14 seconds. He was in kind of like a Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje kind of last 10 seconds. He knocked him out. Um, he's a great fighter. He used to be in the 300 pounds. He was down to 170 something. He brought that knockout power with him, but he can't showcase that if he's going to miss weight and the fights gets canceled. Since it's the second time, I'm pretty sure UFC is having a couple words with him because the fight's canceled. But if he continues to do that, I don't think he'll be in the UFC much longer, considering he's not a ranked fighter. He's a kind of a new person with a couple of fights on his record in the UFC. So if he continues to do that, I don't think he can use his, his ego, his publicity to stay in the UFC. He might go down to PFL, Bellator, but if he continues to do that, I don't think he'll be in the UFC for much longer.
And I'm sorry if I butcher this, which I probably will. I think his name is Nursultan. Is that his name? Is that how you pronounce that?
Something along that. I'm American. I don't speak any other language than English. But
Yeah, me
if I
either.
would have to
Sorry for
guess, it'd
anybody
be
listening out there.
Nursultan, Rozabov, Boev, something along
Yeah.
the lines.
So as soon as he was informed that the fight is no longer on, and I'm sure you heard Battle talking extreme trash, saying that it was Nursultan's fault that they were not on the main card and that he's going to have to pay for it. How do you feel about Nursultan responding to the situation via his Instagram story stating, instead of talking too much, you need to make weight? Also, this is a professional sport, Blondie. How do you feel about those statements towards Brian Battle?
Well, as a UFC fan, any UFC fan in the right mind loves crap talking. And I
Right.
think that a lot of fighters, when they're going into this battle with another insane monster of a person fighting, there's going to be emotions. And especially when you train this long, you're a well established middleweight. You're trying to look to get in there, try to get, in those rankings. And for a guy to miss weight, there's going to be some emotion there. So I can agree with him. He has to make weight.
While it is disappointing to see yet another fight get pulled from the card, there are still plenty of big matchups to look forward to. Which matchup, besides Brian Battle, obviously, and the injury fights that are no longer on the card, um, which fight, either on the early prelim, or main card, are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, let's see. Prelims. I'll do Biden Singor Sasarske or Kov, I forgot his name, against Eric Nolan. Because that's another thing. He was on Dana's White's Contender Series, won
Mhm.
that fight first round KO, and in 4 days' notice took the fight. So I'm looking forward to that fight and see what he can do in the prelims. And for main card, man, you got Aaron Pico, unranked fighter, going up against the number 6 seed Leon Murphy. Or Lerone Murphy, my bad. And you got Dracus Duplessis defending his title for the third time against Khamzat Chimaev, the Boers. And then you got Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page, which is going to be a high action fight because Michael Page brings that intensity. So I can't really have a favorite fight, but it's going to be a great card.
It definitely looks like a stacked card here. I mean, look at the not only, even though we only have one match now on the early prelims, which I'm assuming correct me if I'm wrong, but the other three matches were from the early prelims, right? The three that were
Yeah, with
cut.
the matches being canceled and stuff, they had to
Yep.
rearrange the cards a little bit.
So, with that, do you think that this UFC event is going to either do better with less matches, and will it flow quicker, or will it flow more fluently than it would had we still had those three matches? Or do you think it's not going to do nearly as well now that we don't have those three matches alongside the rest of the card?
Well, I was looking forward to the Rodrigo fight because it was the final fight for the Ultimate Fighter, so you can't really see who's going to be the Ultimate Fighter. You got Brian Battle. That was a fight I was looking forward to. You got
Right.
King Green and Diego. They were supposed to fight, but even though they lost fights like that, I think they can still pull it off, even though they don't have the whole card. I mean, Drakus Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev is, even if that was the only fight on the card, I'd watch it still. I think it's gonna go good. I mean, they got more high stakes fights than just those three fights. They have, I mean, I don't see any flaw in the card other than them losing three fights. The card's still good. It's gonna be a lot more faster. I mean, the Brian Battle fight, it might have went the distance, might have not, because they're both great fighters. They got knockout power, got finishing power, but I mean, they'll lose maybe about 30 minutes to an hour of time, but I think the card's still going to be good.
So before we move into the UFC 319 card predictions, I want to talk to you about. You already asked me about the UFC, not the UFC, the WWE future with their new
Mm-hmm.
streaming deal from moving to Peacock to ESPN. I'd like to ask you pretty much the same thing. With UFC moving from its pay-per-view business model to Paramount Plus with a subscription for all of their fights, how do you feel about their future? Do you think they're gonna do better, or do you think they're gonna be losing out money because it was like what, $60
Yeah,
for pay
60
per
to
view?
$80 for pay per view.
And it's like I'm not sure how much it is for a Paramount Plus subscription, but I'm sure it can't be anywhere upwards of 15.
I think it's like
At
12.99.
most. Yeah, it can't be anywhere upwards of 15. Do you think they're going to lose money, or do you think they're going to make more money considering the fact that now they're streaming and they're not just on pay-per-view?
So it's ironic to me because WWE is moving to ESPN while UFC is going away from ESPN to Paramount. Um, Back in 2018, when they first signed the contract with ESPN for the holding the rights for the US, it was around 350 million from what I've heard. So that was like a $1.5 billion contract throughout the 5 years or so, whatever they were with the ESPN. But now they signed with Paramount Plus for a 7-year contract of $7.7 billion, which is $1.1 billion a year. So they'll almost be making that same amount of money in a year than they did the whole time with ESPN. So that's a huge boost, and it gives them more freedom to spend money wisely and upgrading the UFC in the direction they want to go. The fighters pay, all that stuff, the bonuses. But with the prices they were with ESPN, it was just pay per view and ESPN Plus subscription to even get the pay per view. So the prices were like $60 to $80 down to just $12.99 a month, which is $155 before tax at the end of the year. So that's a huge step forward as well. Then paying 60 to 80 a pay per view, which is 12 to 15 events a year. I mean, $720 a year down to just like 120.
Oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely. That's
not
a
even 720. It was like 1,000 because you had to pay the $11.99 a month for
mhm.
ESPN plus the pay per view. So that's around the $900 to $1,000 mark down to this $120 a year for the annual fee.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you do pose a very good point there. I mean, like you said, they're moving. WWE's moving from a streaming business model to a now, like UFC was a pay-per-view business model, and UFC's practically doing the opposite. Do you think that the UFC benefits from moving from ESPN to Paramount? Do you think they now hold an advantage over WWE? Or do you think that because they are owned by TKO that they need to coincide with each other and one benefit the other and just kind of coexist.
Well, as a business standpoint, minus the TKO, I think they, I think they're doing the better option than WWE's doing because the price changes. Even though WWE is going to ESPN, they still get a guaranteed amount of money. UFC is going to Paramount, so they're going to get a guaranteed amount of money. With that, couple hundred million to now $1 billion a year, they're guaranteed that. So no matter the viewership, they're going to get that set amount of money. But I mean, I think they're the better option here because they have a lot more to work with now since they have that kind of yearly earnings for revenue. But I mean, as far as viewership wise, minus the money revenue, viewership wise, I can see a lot more people coming to UFC than WWE because in today's time, you can't even buy a carton of eggs less than $6 now. I mean, the fact that you
Yeah,
can watch a pay-per-view fight that's from $60 to $80 now for $12.99 a month, there's going to bring in more fans, more MMA people. It'll probably bring down the legal streaming as well because I don't want to watch a fight for 60 to $80. I know people don't want to, and they'll legally stream that. But now, I mean, $12.99 a month, you're getting that plus Paramount Plus. I don't see why anybody would pass up on that option.
absolutely. Okay, so now that we've got the WWE's future out of the way, we've got what's been going on with WWE this past weekend and week, along with SummerSlam out of the way. We now have UFC's future out of the way. What has been going on with UFC this past week or weekend that's notable or worth reporting on during the podcast?
Well, I mean, obviously, Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev for
Right.
UFC 319. I mean, we also got the UFC White House event that has been kind of
Oh,
updated.
yeah. That's right. Let's talk about the UFC White House event. I almost completely forgot about the UFC White House event. So what I have written down is Dana White has stated that the UFC is hosting its first event ever to take place on the White House lawn. The event and venue details are still to be ironed out between President Trump and Dana White. Dana has been quoted saying it is definitely going to happen. So, based on that quote from Dana and everything we know so far, which we don't know much, we don't know what the venue is going
Yeah.
to look like. We don't know if it's actually going to be directly on the lawn. We know it's going to take place there, but we don't know how it's going to look. With what we know now, do you think that this UFC event stands to not only take a toll from where it's going to be on the White House lawn, which is definitely going to be very, very protected. So trying to get people in there is already going to be hard. All right.
Hmm.
Do you think that with that we might lose sales for UFC 39 or not 319, but the UFC White House event? Or do you think that the UFC White House event will take any kind of stance with any political view, anything that's going on in the world right now? Do you think that it might be hindered by what's going on around the world, especially considering what's going on with President Trump and, everything that's going on in the world today? Do you think the UFC on the White House lawn is going to be affected by that in any way?
Who doesn't want to see a fight at the White House? That's just my only question. Who doesn't want to see that? Who doesn't want to see fighter jets coming over the White House with red, white, and blue colorways coming out of the whatever you call it, the back of the jet? You hear the national anthem. You see 20 to 25,000 people from what they said. It could be more by the due date. Cheering, singing the national anthem, having that just crazy feeling out there on the lawn of the White House.
Nothing screams America more, my friend.
Who doesn't want that? But
I stand
also,
with you.
to add to your question there in statements, back in July, Trump was giving a speech where he stated that there was going to be a UFC event on the lawn and Dana was going to
Hmm.
build it. Now, recently, Dana White confirmed that he was going to the White House later in this month and walk over with Trump. And once Trump gives a go ahead and puts his input, he wants to change it for the or if it's good, the the White House UFC card will be underway, and he stated that there will definitely be a White House 250th anniversary UFC fight card. So we know it's confirmed. Now we just got to wait for Trump's approval on how he goes about things, and then we start looking at who's going to fight. Hopefully,
So
Conor McGregor will be on the card. Dana White said that he'll rather have Conor McGregor headline than Jones due to some recent things and all that stuff, but he said that it's going to be one of the best cards in UFC history.
So to go back to what you said about the UFC White House event being on the 250th anniversary of America, how do you feel about a UFC event on the White House lawn taking place on July 4th, 2026?
Well, if you asked the people that signed the Declaration of Independence on 1776, if there's going to be a fight at the White House, they'll probably shoot you with a musket for being
Yeah,
lazy.
probably.
But I mean, Trump stated that he wanted more people to go to the White House because it's our White House. Just because there's a president there doesn't mean it's not ours, because we, the people, we fund it. So he wants
Right.
more people to go back to the White House. He wants people to experience and all that stuff. And a UFC event with a stat card, if it's not too much, I'll be there. Even if it's outside the gates, just hearing the noises, I want to be there.
So now that we've got the UFC's future, the UFC White House event, the going-ons of what's happened in UFC this week, now it is time. If we had Bruce Buffer here, this would be perfect. It's time for the UFC 319 card predictions. TooterRooski, you are going to give me your opinions and your predictions for UFC 319. All right? All right. So we'll start out with the early prelims, which is only one match. I do have the odds for each fighter. So forgive me if I butcher any of the names, which I probably will. So for the early prelim match, we have Alibi Idris with minus 45 odds versus Joseph Morales with plus 350 odds. Who do you have winning that early prelim fight?
Well, I got the Kazakhstan guy, the Alibi, I don't know.
Alibi or Alibi Idris?
I'm going with him. He sounds, I don't know.
He just sounds like he's going to win it.
Yeah,
All right.
he just sounds like he's going to win it.
All right. And now we're out of the prelims. Hold on, let me circle Alibi so that way whenever the fight happens tonight, you
Now,
can tell
don't
me
get me
who
wrong.
wins.
Joseph Morales, he can win the fight. He just has to get past his knockout power. And if he can try to take it to the ground, I can potentially see him getting a submission. I'm not. You know what? Give me Joseph. Joseph with submission.
Joseph with submission. Okay.
Yeah.
So submission. All right. So for the early prelim match, we have Joseph Morales with plus 350 odds winning by submission. All right.
If he can carry it
So
out of round one, because the guy that won the Alibi, he has 5 knockouts. He has 5 first round finishers. If he can bring the distance, I can see him tiring him out and potentially getting the submission.
that's a great idea for next time. I did forget to write down their records. So that is a great idea for the next episode. So now we move on to the prelims. So we've got
Give me Silva.
forgive Silva. I haven't even gotten to that match yet. Hold on. So I'm starting from the bottom of the card.
Okay.
We're gonna work our way up. So the bottom of the card for the prelims is Baisangur Chimaev with negative 950 odds versus Eric Nolan for plus 625 odds. Who do you have winning that fight in the prelims?
Well, who I want to see win is Bison Gore because, 4 days notice after just winning, if he wins that, he's probably going to make a statement in his division. I don't know a single person that can take a fight on 4 days notice and fight. You know what I'm saying? But Eric Nolan, 4 wins by knockout, 3 first round finishes, 2 wins by submission. He's 8-3. I want to say Bison Gore with knockout because he does have that knockout power that I've seen on the Dana White Contender Series. I mean, he's a high caliber fighter, and don't get me wrong, Eric Nolan, he's a good fighter too. But you got to understand, you can't mess with a Russian on a mission. So I'm gonna go with Bison Gore.
All right, so you have Bison Gore with KO, right? So Bison Gore Susakorev or Susorkayev with KO. So now we go on to Gerald Mearshart.
Mearshart.
Forgive me if I mispronounced that. Versus Michael, whatever that guy's last name is. So
It's a Polish name.
Gerald. Yeah, it definitely is. Gerald has plus 180 odds, and Michael has negative 218.
You know, a lot of people are rooting for Michael. They obviously think he's going to win, but I think it goes the distance, and I think Gerald gets the submission in round 2 or 3.
All right, so Gerald by submission in round 2 or 3. All right, and now on to Jessica Andrade versus Lupi Godinez. I'm almost positive I messed that up. But Jessica Andrade has 120 odds, plus 120 odds. Lupi has negative 142 odds. So, who do you have winning that prelim fight?
I think I'm going to go with Jessica.
Jessica Andrade?
I think she's going to get a knockout here. TKO.
All right. So, Jessica by TKO. TKO, if you're listening, lower the prices for your seats. Anyway, Chase Hooper with negative 325 odds versus Alexander Hernandez with plus 260 odds.
I mean, I think I'm going to go with the Dream Chase Hooper.
Chase Hooper. All right. So we got Chase Hooper winning that fight. And for the next match, we have Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose.
I think I'm going to go with Edson Barboza.
Edson Barboza. He has, or she can't remember. I did this at like 9 o'clock in the morning. He has minus 135 odds, and Drakkar has plus 114. So we're going with Edson Barboza. And how did you say he was winning? My bad.
TKO or it goes the distance. They're both knockout capable. They're not ranked. They might play it safe. They might not. They might go out there and try to finish it. But
okay,
my money's going to be on Edison.
All right, and for our last prelim match, we have Karine Silva versus Dion Barbosa, and you heard it here, folks. TooterRooski is going for Silva. So Silva, by what means does Silva win this fight?
Well, if she can go the distance, because I know Barbosa, she loves to try to finish in the first round. So she's going to probably be explosive, try to go for a win here. But if she can withstand that, I think she can carry out the distance and pick her apart and win.
You think she's winning by decision?
Yeah, I think it goes to decision if Barbosa doesn't gas out.
We've got Karine Silva winning the final prelim match by decision. All right, and now we move
by
to
any
the
means,
bottom
do not
of
use my predictions to bet.
Please don't. You will lose your money, and it will not be our fault. We do not take credit for if you lose your money. All right, so on to the main card. At the very bottom, we have Tim Elliott with plus 250 odds versus Kai Asakura with minus 310 odds. Who do you have winning the first fight on the main card?
So, based off the last fight from Kai, I mean, he went to war with Pantoja. So, I mean, the fact that he was fighting Pantoja for a title fight, I'm gonna go with Kai here.
Kai Asakura, do you think he's gonna win by TKO?
I think he's gonna win by devastating Tim Elliott.
So we have Kai Asakura winning.
I mean, look at him. He looks like something out of a Japanese anime.
He literally looks like a friggin' samurai. He looks like he would pick apart Tim Elliott in a heartbeat without even thinking. So
if I was in the UFC in his division, I would just let the UFC know to let him just have my rank.
So we move on to, if not one of the most
Let me
anticipated
guess.
fights,
Cannonier versus Page, ain't it?
we have Jared Cannonier with plus 180 odds versus Michael, the whatever his
Venom.
nickname is,
Venom.
Venom Page. All right, with negative 218
Yeah.
odds.
So there's a reason why Page has that kind of I mean, what do you even call odds? I mean, Jared Cannonier is a number 9 seed in the middleweight. And the fact that Michael Page has the better odds, it shows because his recent fights, his fights that weren't in the UFC, he was explosive. And now that he's in the UFC, he's more established. He trained more, he got dialed in. He is a lethal fighter. He beat one of the, I want to say prodigies, but Magomedov, when he fought him,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just tore him apart. I mean,
Yeah.
he goes in there, he bounces back. I mean, he moves, he's all over the place. And Jared Cannonier, I mean, the killer gorilla, he has knockout power. He had 7 finishes out of his 18 fights in the first round. He has that knockout power, but with Michael Venom Page's, I mean, his movement, the way he goes around, picks them apart, he uses his whole body and utilizes it. I mean, Michael Page. It
Doesn't
might go
stand a
the
chance.
distance. It might not go the distance, but if he can put on a top performance, he can win over Jared.
So, for your final decision,
I
who
think it
is it?
goes the distance, though.
You think it goes the distance?
I think it
So,
goes the distance.
who do you got? Jared Cannonier or Michael Page?
Give me Michael by
Michael
decision.
by decision. All right. So now we have Geoff Neal, if that's how you pronounce his name, versus Carlos Prats. Geoff has plus 180 odds, and Carlos has negative 218. So, who do you think's going to win that main card fight?
I'm gonna have to go with Carlos here. I mean, I've seen his fights. I've seen some pretty good stuff about him. I've seen Neil as well. He's coming off of a win streak. He hasn't fought in almost a year. I
You
think
think that's
Carlos has got some in
gonna?
the bag.
So Carlos Prats is going to win
I mean, they
that
both
fight.
lost to the same guy, Ian Gary, but I think Pratt takes it.
You think Prats takes it? You think it's by decision? You think it's gonna go to distance, or you think Prats is gonna TKO or submit?
I mean, he has that 3-inch reach advantage, so I'm gonna give him. I think he's gonna get a knockout here. TKO.
All right. Carlos by TKO. So the last fight before our main event is Leron Murphy. Leron Murphy with plus 154 odds versus Aaron Pico with minus 185.
Yeah, so actually, let me see if I can get this correct here. This is actually Aaron Pico UFC debut. This is his
So
first
this
fight,
is his,
and it's going up against a number 6 seed.
it's not looking too good for Aaron Pico though, but he
I'm
is the underdog.
Yeah, so wow. I mean, I'm looking at the stats here from Leroon. He's on a little bit of a win streak. I've seen Pico stuff, but I don't know if he's ever fought somebody of Leroon Murphy's caliber. I know there's a lot of people saying he's going to walk the floor with Leroon Murphy, but I got Murphy winning.
All right, Murphy winning, and that's obviously, that's the safe choice because, like you said, Aaron Pico is debuting in the UFC. This is his first time. They're definitely going to be nervous fighting in front of a crowd that big.
They're
So it is fair to
definitely
give.
knockout power here. I mean, they got 7 knockouts apiece. My bad. Aaron has 9. Murphy has 7. But I think it's either going to play out really fast or it's going to go to distance.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen,
That's if
we
that
have made
doesn't
it to the moment. Oh,
finish in the first round.
if it
Because
doesn't
they
finish.
got 6 and 7 finishes in the first round. So we'll see if they play it safe or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, Now is the time you've been waiting for. Our main event prediction. Will it be, what is it, Draco Duplessis? Is that how you pronounce it?
Dricus Duplessis.
Dricus Duplessis with plus 215 odds. The 4-day notice fighter versus the vicious.
Did you say 4-day fighter?
I said 4-day notice. I said
What
4-day
4-day
notice. You said he picked it. He picked the fight from Dana
Oh,
White.
no.
Oh,
Boxing
wrong guy.
Boxing.
Wrong guy, guys. My bad. All right. So anyway, ignore what I said. Draco Duplessis with plus 215 odds versus Khamzat Chimaev with negative 265. That's what his name is. Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah.
I'm not Russian. Leave me alone.
I mean, at least he didn't butcher it like Rampage Jackson did.
Okay.
I believe he called him Khamzat Chimaev.
Of course he did. But all jokes aside, now it's time for serious prediction. Will it be Dricus Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev?
Say Chimaev.
No, I already said it.
If any Chimaev fan comes in here and listens, they're going to probably
boycott the entire podcast. Yeah, they're going to boycott the entire podcast.
There's
But that's
a lot
okay.
of people in America that love Chimaev over Dricus. So
okay, well, Chimaev, there you go.
Chimaev has a pretty good following.
I'm so sorry to all the listeners.
Okay, Chimaev, his last 5 fights, he fought Robert Whitaker. Had 3 wins out of his last 5 fights before he facing Chimaev. One being lost to the champion Duplessis, and the other one being to Israel Adesanya, which had the belt at the time. He fought against Kamaru Usman, who had beat Strickland back in 2017 before he went on that legendary title defense against Tyron Woodley, Kobe Covington, Jorge Masvidal. Shout out to the first ever BMF title holder. He also fought against Gilbert Burns, who supposedly was mixed reactions because some people say that Gilbert Burns brought him the distance, exposed him, could have went both ways. But also, Chimaev fought Usman when he was on a 2-fight losing streak. And those 2 losing streaks came after he lost his belt, that he's been holding it since 2019. So, I mean, having lost your belt, then a rematch, and then you have someone like Chimaev coming in here hungry. It
was bound to happen.
Yeah. But Khamzat did take down Kevin Holland with a Darce choke in the first round. And to submit a guy like Kevin Holland in the first round, that's pretty impressive, especially when he was on a 2-fight win streak. But when you look at Duplessis, last fight, he fought against Robert Whitaker, who had won the last fight he had, and had a title fight only a year prior to that. He also fought Sean Strickland, who was on a 3-fight win streak in the last fight before him, and Duplessis was him taking the title away from Israel Adesanya. And, I mean, he just fought champions. He fought in that Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland era, and he walked him. He showed he could be a high caliber fighter in the later championship rounds of 4 and 5. I've never seen Khamzat Chimaev fight in the championship round because he's never fought in the championship rounds. I mean, the way that he fought against Gilbert Burns, and it was only 3 rounds, I don't think he can go the distance with Duplessis, considering that Duplessis has an awkward fighting style. I think the underdog here, which is unironically the champion, wins it. Might not be a knockout, might not be a submission, but if he carries it the distance, he will win.
So you think Chimaev is going to win?
No, Duplessis.
Okay, so Duplessis is your prediction to win the main event of UFC 319.
Yes, it is.
So, to recap, in the early prelims, we have Joseph Morales winning by submission. In the prelims, we have Bysengor Sesarkayev by TKO. Gerald Mearshart by submission. Then we have Jessica Andrade by TKO. Chase Hooper, just because he's Chase Hooper. Edison Barboza by TKO or decision. And then Kareen Silva. And moving on to the main card, we have Kai Asakura winning against Tim Elliott. Then we have Michael Venom Page winning by decision. Then we have Carlos winning against Geoff Neal. And then we have Leon Murphy winning against Aaron Pico. And for our main event, as you just heard, we have Draco Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. See, I said it right that time.
Chimaev.
But Khamzat does not win that fight, and it goes to Draco Duplessis.
Yep, for his third title defense.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that does cover everything except for there are a couple of ongoing and developing stories for WWE as of this moment. Naomi possibly vacating the women's championship. We do not know what was going to happen. She was supposed to face Io Sky on Monday Night Raw in the main event, but that got changed due to last minute non-compete. She was not cleared to compete by medical. So we are not sure what that is, but we have gotten an update that we will be hearing from Naomi on Monday Night Raw discussing the state of the women's championship. On top of that, Karrion Kross responds to fans chanting at SmackDown. SmackDown was almost taken over by "We Want Kross" chants, just like after SummerSlam and when Triple H falsely said, "You wanted Brock, we got him." Karrion Kross responds via Twitter saying, "I hear you." Now, I don't know if that means we're closer in contract negotiation. Maybe something happened with Scarlett Bordeaux. We're not sure. But that will be covered on our next week's episode of In the Clinch.
Would you like to close this out? For our first ever episode.
I would. Thanks everyone who may be listening. This is the first time we tried this. And, we didn't know if we were going to succeed or not. So if we did, hey, Mom, I made it. Thank you to anybody that's listening, giving us your time. I sure do appreciate it. And maybe you come back and join us for another episode.
All right. This is TooterRooski, and this is In the Clinch.